Detroit welcomed in NFC North foe Green Bay for a Thanksgiving Day Classic. And now the Motor City will go home and eat their turkey legs covered in tears. Lions fall to the Packers 31-24. Welcome to the Detroit Lions Live postgame show presented by Cure Auto Insurance, alongside the Super Bowl champ Lomas Brown and Hall of Fame semi-finalist.
Thank you.
I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for spending some of your Thanksgiving Day holiday with us. It all came down to the fourth quarter for Detroit. Multiple opportunities to either tie this ball game or put it away. The offense fell short on a fourth down drop from J-Mo, and then Jared Goff takes a sack, and it didn't look pretty out there for him in the pocket.
No, Danny, unfortunately, it didn't look pretty much most of the game. I mean, you have to give Green Bay a lot of credit. They came in with a certain game plan that they wanted to execute against the Lions, and they executed it. They really did. And Danny, I'm telling you, what's disturbing to me a second week in a row is that we can't generate pressure on quarterbacks, opposing quarterbacks. And if you give a quarterback any type of time, that's what's going to happen. They're going to sustain drives. They're going to hit their guys. They're going to make explosive plays against us. Give Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and that Green Bay Packers team, Michael Parsons and the rest of the guys, a lot of credit. They came in and took the victory from us.
To your point, Detroit had no sacks on Jordan Love in the Green Bay Packers offense. Some bright spots here. Okay, hear me out, LB.
Okay.
This is one of the best third down performances we've seen from Detroit this season. 8 of 13. The 0 for 2 on fourth down, those were some daggers. Despite Detroit leading time of possession and not turning the ball over, they just could not come up with those big plays when they needed it. Big story of the night, the offensive line is banged up. Center Graham Glasgow was out of this one with a knee injury. In steps Tristan Colon, a free agent acquisition. And that line didn't look like it could hold up for most of the part. There were bright spots, but a few times they let that pressure get to Jared Goff.
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing you have to have, especially in the NFL, you have to have continuity. And Danny, when you guys don't practice, you can't get that chemistry down. And it's hard coming to a game and having to execute when you have guys in and out the lineup. And unfortunately, that's been the case for most of the year with our offensive line. You know, we've had different starters there. And, you know, we've had, like you say, not having Graham Glasgow there today. So it's just been tough. And I know it's been tough trying to put a game plan together. But you know, we're going to have to overcome that. Those are things that you go through throughout the NFL season. You just have to find a way to overcome it.
Detroit couldn't find their way in the run game like we've been accustomed to. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs went off for 219 rushing yards last week. This week, he was bottled up by that Packers run D, 68 yards on the ground. David Montgomery, when this team needed some more knuckles and not as much Sonic, Montgomery delivered the boom, including that second quarter touchdown out of the Wildcat formation, bullied his way into the end zone to put Detroit within 3.
No, you're right. And David, again, we talked about it. Jahmyr, yeah, he had the big game last week. But you're going to need David Montgomery. You're going to need both of those guys. They complement each other so very well. So you're going to need David. I thought David you're right, he picked up some timely third downs for us. Like you say, when we needed him to get in the end zone, he was the one that got in the end zone for us. But again, when you're talking about 3.4 yards per carry, you know, that average just isn't good enough to sustain the run game. So again, we talk about being able to sustain it, pick up first downs, keep the drive going, keep their offense on the sideline, our offense out there on the field. We just weren't able to do that consistently today, Danny.
Detroit has taken some injuries to their pass catchers, including tight end Sam Laporta, which is not new news. He is out indefinitely, but his counterpart, tight end Brock Wright, was also out today, as well as Khalif Raymond, punt returner, kick returner, and wide receiver. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, the leading receiver for Detroit, goes down in the first quarter. These two stepped up big time, including Isaac Teslau with one score here, and then Tom Kennedy just kept churning out the big plays today.
You're right. I'm proud of Tom Kennedy, and plus he had double duty, right? He was our return guy on punts and our return guy in the kickoff return game. But Danny, we're going to have to rely on these guys to step up even more. I hate to say that. J-Mo had a big game today, but he's going to have somebody else that complements him Tom Kennedy, I thought, did a great job of finding the soft spots in the Green Bay defense, sitting it down. Big 23-yard reception early in the game to help Jared Goff out. But we're going to need more from these guys, and I think Dan Campbell is probably going to have to put more on their plates.
Bright spot for Detroit today. And the reason why we can all go home and eat some pumpkin pie, some apple pie, pecan pie, whatever you love, it's because of this man right here, wide receiver Jameson Williams. In the 2-minute drill before the half, came up with a quick 3rd and 3 quick pitch from Goff, pranced into the end zone for the score. He is lethal on the run, and that's exactly how you want him every single play.
You're exactly right. And the thing that I love is Jared, with his accuracy, he gives J-Mo an opportunity to catch the ball and get that yards after the catch. And that's so important, especially when we run a lot of drag routes. We run a lot of slant routes. We like to take advantage of the middle of the defense. I think J-Mo has done his best work coming across the middle of the defenses, catching the ball on the run and using that outstanding speed. So again, talk about putting more and more on guys' plates. I know a lot more is going to have to go on J-Mo, and he's going to have to produce for us.
Jameson Williams led Detroit's receivers today. We see him inconsistently throughout the weeks. Is he continuing to make his case to move up higher in the progression chart for Jared Goff?
I mean, and that comes from the quarterback having confidence in knowing where the wide receiver is going to be at. If he's supposed to be at 10 yards, he's going to be at 10 yards. But B, making the catches. You have to be able to make those crucial catches. J-Mo, he's been doing that. And like I say, Jared's going to have to rely on him. He doesn't have his blanket and Sam Laporta. So it's a lot of guys that he's probably unfamiliar with, hadn't worked a lot with, that he's going to have to become more and more familiar with, build that chemistry with these guys sooner than later, since our turnaround is so short next week.
Back here next Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. Let's look at this Detroit Lions defense. Two of the top guys that continue to lock down, especially the run game, held Packers to 125 yards rushing, right about their average. Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, those two combined, no matter where you put them on the field, they're making an impact, Lomas.
Yeah, and not just in tackling, too, in coverage. I mean, these guys have to cover the running backs. They have to cover the tight ends, and I think they've been doing a nice job. Look, we've been leaning on our linebacking group most of this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They've been doing a nice job. They're continuing to lead our defense. So, Danny, we're going to have to lean more and more on these guys. Again, I talk about the responsibilities that they have to take on. They're just going to have to take on even more, especially with some of the injury problems we have in our secondary, and guys going in and out. You rely on these linebackers, A, to get guys lined up where they need to be, but B, be able to make the tackle or cover guys that they need to cover.
Speaking of the secondary, safety Brian Branch continues to step up while his counterpart, Kirby Joseph, is out with injury right now. And Branch was all over the field, led Detroit in tackles, 10 total, 2 passes defended. He delivered the boom here today, and he's a reason why this Detroit's defense can keep this team, giving this team a chance to win, rather.
Yeah, I thought BB was big today. Like you say, not only with coming up and supporting the run and making sure-handed tackles, but defending the pass, too. I thought he had sticky coverage on the guys that he had to defend. I thought he was huge in this game. I thought he was the reason why the defense played as well as they played today. Again, we're going to need him more and more. Hopefully he could get his running partner back in Kirby Joseph, but it's just been tough, man. Calvin Shepard, I keep talking about the job that he has done, especially when you have so many moving parts on your defense because of injury. I think he's done an outstanding job of getting these guys where they need to be at and putting them in a position to have success.
Back-to-back weeks for Detroit's defense, we've seen a handful of explosive passes. being given up, including on that final drive from
Yeah.
Green Bay. Detroit had a chance to give the ball back to their offense. They couldn't step up. Where are you seeing the disconnect on that
Danny,
side?
we have to get pressure on the quarterback. I'm a harp on this. I'm gonna beat the drum on this all day long. If you let an NFL quarterback get comfortable in the game, you're gonna have a hard time stopping them. One hit, I mean, we had to affect Jordan Love a lot more than we did today. You know, his uniform was clean. I don't even know if they have to wash his uniform, Danny, and that's disturbing because last week it happened to us with Jameson Winston. So again, we're going to have to get better. I don't know how we do that. I don't know if Calvin Shepard's going to have to send more guys. I don't know what we're going to have to do, but we got to affect these quarterbacks more and more early in the game to get them uncomfortable.
Urgency has got to be a key word here going forward for Detroit. Head coach Dan Campbell is standing by at the podium. Let's hear from him.
Okay. Credit that team and Matt. You know, they did a good job, man. They closed that game out, and you know, they made the critical plays. You know, proud of the way our guys fought. You know, I feel like came in ready to go from that aspect, and certainly plenty of energy. But really, this game came down to fourth down and those critical moments, and we were 0 for 2, and they were able to capitalize on 3 of them. So, you know, and those are the 1 or 2 plays really that make the difference when you're playing a really good team. So that's really kind of what it came down to. So like I told the team, it's frustrating. I know we got a lot to be thankful for even after a loss. You know, and look, we dug ourselves in a little bit of a hole. That's the bottom line. We are in a little bit of a hole. But that's just what it is. There's nothing more than that. So all we got to do is worry about cleaning up this and then getting to the next game and finding a way to win the next one in front of us. That will be, after this day or two here, they get off, that's what the focus will be.
Things on the fourth downs. You guys have gone a few games now without converting one. Is there something that's happening on some of those? Why you have a big head as you did early on, and then Green Bay's decision on that last one just to go for it? You know,
Yeah.
playing for the win, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good decision. I mean, just, you know, going for the win, finish the game, man, and they, you know, they came up with it. You know, I thought, look, BB was in phase, man. That was sticky coverage, and, you know, 13 went up and made a hell of a play, you know, so credit to them. But it wasn't like we weren't in position. That's just, those are those moments, you know. But I don't look at it. Look, one of those, I didn't like one of those fourth down calls, you know. It felt like, you know, I don't know how good of an opportunity we really gave our guys on that first one, you know. But you know, we had an opportunity, and even at the end of the day, we had an opportunity, and we couldn't, you know, we just couldn't get it done there later in the game. So.
That doesn't change your approach at all, the struggles you guys have had?
No, I mean, it's still, if it, you know, if you, a lot of it depends on where the game is at too, man. Where the game's at, the opponent, how your defense is playing. You know, what do you feel like you have a real good handle on what you're going to get from that defense? You know, who you going to, all those things. And so, you know, going into it, we like those plays. So no, I wouldn't say necessarily that's going to have an effect on me. You know, you always want to convert them, and we've had a lot of conversions here. It just didn't work out today.
9 minutes into the game, he's probably a big part of this game plan. We're already without the lead. You just talked about needing somebody to step up, and Campbell, you know, he did that for you. Tom had some good catches there down the seam. Just you guys stepped up. I know you fell short, but you had to probably be proud of the way some of those guys stepped up and played on the outside.
For sure. And yeah, when you lose a guy like Saint, it's tough. I mean, there's so many things that he brings to our offense. Everybody knows the production and the versatility he has. Also, all the dirty work he does in the run game and all the little things, man, the nuances of where you line up to where you go to who you block. If it's this look to now if they go here, you need to slide back to do that. I mean, he's so freaking smart, man. and he's tough. And so there's a million jobs he does, and he does them at a high level that it does. It hurts when you lose him. So, he and Laporta were kind of those guys for us. And when you lose those guys and then Leafs the next one, it becomes difficult. But with that, a guy like JMO stepped up, and I thought he was electric, made a lot of big plays for us, that was good to see. And we thought he would, get it in his hands. I wish he could have gotten his hands more. We had some calls there that, the defense took him away, and so it had to go somewhere else. But he did a good job. TK, we trust TK. It's why he's here. It's why he's on the vet squad, and we elevate him because he can return for us, which he did, and he can do a million jobs on offense. Tesla made some big plays today. So that is a positive. We had 3 really new tight ends. Now, Dwelly's played for us, but Dwelly kind of started for us. Obviously, we used Skip, and then there was Ferkshire and Horton. So, and it was good to see those guys go compete and mix it up.
Why do you feel like the pass rush has struggled to make impact plays so consistently over the last couple of games?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I need to, until I watch this game, I want to know what this game looks like before I make a comment on that, So I'm not sure.
Outlook on St. Brown? Any idea?
Well, I'll know more tomorrow. I don't feel like this is long term, so that's the good news. But that doesn't mean it won't be here for, could be a week or 2, maybe, if we're lucky.
You mentioned dug a hole. How difficult, if he's out and other guys have been injured, how do you see your way out of this hole?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is this, just know with kind of where we're at with the division, and it's more of you need a little help. You got to do your job, you got to win, and you need a little help. And that's what it is. But it all starts with you doing your job, and which is us, and finding a way to win. The next one in front of us. It really is that simple. And don't make more of it than needs be. It's frustrating. It sucks. It's tough. But we've done it. We did it to ourselves. And we're the only ones who are going to get out of it as well.
We saw the news of Frank Ragnar obviously going forward. How much are you looking forward to adding him to the mix and just your reaction to him?
Yeah, fired up. Fired up to get Frank, to get him back. He wants to play. He wants to be a part of it. He misses the game. He misses his teammates, and so really fired up, man. He brings. He's a good football player. He brings a good football player, a lot of production back to that old line and the game itself. But he's also a great teammate, man. He was one of our captains, so he brings a lot to our team.
Can you explain how that all came about a couple weeks ago? It sounded like you thinking that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it just I think this is something that's been on his mind for a while, and and then he called me, so we were good. What's that?
When did he call you? When did this process?
Well, yesterday morning is when I got the call officially. Now I know there was other things, and look, his teammates had talked to him. I know some of those guys have been back and forth with him. And I got wind of something, not too long ago. But hey, man, we're fired up.
On the topic of the O-line, I know you're not going to make excuses, but how difficult has it been to get into a rhythm with the injuries up front, with the youth up front, and how detrimental has it been to try to find that rhythm this season?
Well, yeah, I mean, it just things are a little different. That's all. It's just a little different. That's the best way to say it. So sometimes you got to go about things a little differently. And I thought those guys battled up there today, man. I thought they did some good things in the run game. I did think we had some pretty good protection. A lot of our play pass stuff. Now, I know we got hit on some stuff, but those guys went in there and competed. Cologne started for us at center, man. I thought he was clear. I thought communication was good. Tried to finish, so. But there's more to it than that too. When things don't go right, it's all encompassing, man. I'm part of that. All right, I can always be better and need to be better, but it really is. It's all the positions. It's not just O-line. So, and that's what it's all about. And finding our own rhythm, man. And once we find the rhythm, keep the rhythm. And you just got to go about it a certain way.
To Dave and Sean.
Enough urgency on that last drive.
Yes.
6 minute. Yeah.
I know that's frustrating when you're a fan watching, but I know how we needed to play against that defensive front, all right? And it was about playing for the last possession. We were going to do that. Defense was going to get the stop. We were going to use our timeouts, get one more shot to go win the game, and that's how we were playing it. I wanted to play it just like that. So I wanted to keep it in our hands and not turn it into a pin your ears back and start flying up the field with Micah Parsons and those guys.
Sean, last question.
Dan, where do you think you are with your feel of the flow of calling plays?
Well, I can always be better. I mean, I can always be better. But, look, I'm always going to want more. I'm always going to feel like I need to do some things a little bit different. But you can always go hindsight on all this. Well, man, why did you run it here? You should have, I wish I would have played pass on this one. Well, I wish I would have dropped back on this one. Well, so, but ultimately, look, we didn't win the game. But as far as the way that I wanted to play that game offensively, that was the vision I had for it. We got to convert, man. Those first two series that we had, we got to find a way to convert on third and then the fourth downs, So you're talking about 2 or 3 plays ultimately against a good team in that moment that made the difference.
One thing, without St. Brown, aren't your fourth down, even at third down options, a little bit limited? And is that where you have to adjust somewhat?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's certainly he's such a he's a playmaker, and he does a ton for us. And so, yeah, I mean, I certainly don't want to say that it doesn't influence you or affect you, but yet I do have a lot of trust in Tom Kennedy. I do have a lot of trust in JMO, especially when we know what the coverage is and we got him running. We still got Gibbs. And so, man, if you like the players and you like the play, there'll be sometimes you may not like the coverages you think you may get, or if it's, the ball's going to go to this player and it's this route that you're going to have to win on, maybe you don't like it. But, in the moment, it felt like the right thing to do today.
Thanks, Ian.
Guys, your prior success has put you at the top of the power rankings list. That's a good thing, right?
Well, just means you've gone from the underdog to the favorite.
But those expectations come from prior success, so that's okay.
What about Cure? Where do you guys rank on the power list?
Actually, we just got named by Forbes as one of the best car insurance companies in America.
Now you're the favorite.
Guess we have a lot in common.
Go Cure.
Go Lions.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to Cure.com to see how you can save. Quarterback Jared Goff looked Micah Parsons, defensive end for the Green Bay Packers, in the eyes about 10 times today. That's the amount of pressures Parsons was able to have on Goff, and 2.5 sacks coming from him alone. 3 sacks on the day against Goff forced him off his spot. But when Goff did have time in the pocket, he was throwing some darts to his wide receivers.
Oh, I mean, 132 quarterback rating. I mean, he did everything he could to try to keep this team in this game. I thought Jared was calm out there, even under pressure. I thought he made the right reads. He made the right throws when he needed to do that. So you can't really look at your quarterback on this one. You have to just kind of look at everything else that happened. Plus, when you lose your best receiver, one of your best offensive weapons in the game, I mean, it kind of changes the game plan a little bit. So I give Jared a lot of credit for what he was able to do out here today.
And Goff will get a reinforcement back. We just heard from head coach Dan Campbell. He confirmed center Frank Ragnow will be back in the fold. No idea when he'll be in football shape, but Ragnow will be a pretty big addition to the O-line.
That's all right, Danny. I'll take a 70% Frank Ragnow over anybody else. He is the guy, I'm telling you, that's probably been the key to why our offensive line has kind of been up and down this year. It's one person, Frank Ragnow, our center, the quarterback of the offensive line. To get him back, I think that just has to be a big boost. I know it's a big boost to the offensive line, but to the rest of the guys in that locker room, because he was a leader. So you get one of your guys back, it has to pep you up, give you some confidence that, hey, right now we're in the hole, but we get one of our leaders back, we can make a run at this thing towards the end of this season.
Four-time Pro Bowler Ragnow going to try to help these Detroit Lions climb out of that hole. Quarterback Jared Goff is standing by at the podium. Let's hear from him.
I guess just to start things off, we just talked to Dan about Frank coming back. When did you catch wind that he was considering coming out of retirement?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. He reached out and had a little interest, I think, and got that itch again. And yeah, we'll be excited to get him back.
And how do you feel like you guys settled in today after those first couple drives?
Pretty good, yeah. I thought there was good moments offensively. Moved the ball pretty well at times. Obviously, wasn't enough, and come up short that way. It sucks. It hurts. You know, you wish you had another chance to kind of try to get another one, but yeah, man, it hurts. It sucks, and they played well. You took your cap.
So, you lose St. Brown 9 minutes into the game. Obviously, that's a big loss already without Khalif too. Just talk about Jameson stepping up big.
Yeah.
Tesla made some key spots.
Kind of knew it would become JMO's game there. Really before the game, and then when that happens, you really know it. And then Tess, I thought, stepped up and did a good job. I thought TK, he's going to be an unsung hero there, being able to step in and know all this stuff, and really impressive. But yeah, it's still I guess, moral victory that we were able to get JMO going like that.
Different twist for you guys. Green Bay got the fourth downs that they needed, and you guys didn't get the fourth downs that you needed.
Yeah.
Did you like those calls that were called?
I did, yeah, I did. I got to connect with JMO there on the one down the red zone. That's I got to give him a better throw, and he makes a catch. He might score right there, and the drive might be over. That's the one that'll hurt me for a while, and then yeah, they converted on their fourth downs, and tip your cap. I thought they played really well.
How do you guys improve, like work on that, and fourth down managing those? I mean, it's been something you struggled with the last couple of games, but as a team, how do you get better at converting?
I don't think there's anything you can do to you just got to execute in those big moments. That's really it. I wish, there was some magic potion to take to be better on fourth down, but there's not. I mean, dude, I had JMO open. He's screaming across. I got to hit him. That's bottom line. There's no other way to fix it. I hit him there. Then we're 1 for 2 on fourth down and probably get more points there.
Outside of fourth down, you've referred to St. Brown and Laporta as safety blankets out there. Just what is it like to be out there without them?
Yeah, I thought everyone stepped up and did a good job, and JMO became, that guy that, was getting open a lot and trying to get him the ball, and I thought Tesla did a good job, and like I said, TK, Ferk did a good job. Yeah, the guys stepped up.
Yeah, and talked about put yourself kind of in a hole now, just with where you're at 75. Obviously, a different situation than where you were last year. Just what's the mindset now? At 7-5, is it still just it's got to be every week next opponent?
Of course, yeah. Win the next one. Find a way to win the next one. Get to 8-5, and then after that, it's going to be the same answer. So yeah, we know where we're at. We certainly know that this was consequential for division rankings and whatnot. But yeah, we got to win the next one and find a way to beat Dallas.
If St. Brown is out for a little bit, at least, how much does that change what you guys are going to have to try to do offensively?
It changed some stuff. He's obviously such a big part of our offense, and a lot of it goes through him. So change a little bit, but not much.
Beyond this game, there was news yesterday of Frank coming back. You two have played a lot of football together. When did you get the news, and how do you feel about
a few weeks
him
ago.
rejoining
I didn't know he was coming back for sure a few weeks ago, but I knew he was interested a few weeks ago, and yeah, I'm glad he's back. It'll be fun. Yeah, I don't know when he'll end up playing, but I'm sure he'll be back soon. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure.
Guys, your prior success has put you at the top of the power rankings list. That's a good thing, right?
Well, just means you've gone from the underdog to the favorite.
But those expectations come from prior success, so that's okay.
What about Cure? Where do you guys rank on the power list?
Actually, we just got named by Forbes as one of the best car insurance companies in America.
Now you're the favorite.
Guess we have a lot in common.
Go Cure.
Go Lions.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to Cure.com to see how you can save. Detroit has 1 week to figure this thing out. They return home to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who are currently facing the Kansas City Chiefs in Arlington. 7-7 is the score right now in the first quarter. Dak Prescott, the Cowboys, they're putting something together,
Yes.
trying to get their hopes up of getting into the playoffs. Where's the biggest threat in this matchup?
Well, Danny, you're right. You talk about that Dak Prescott and that offense coming in here, where they fortified that defense too, bringing in Quentin Williams and another linebacker that they brought in to kind of fortify the middle of that defensive front. So, you know, not only on the offensive side, we're going to have some of our best game, but on the defensive side too, because that's an explosive offense when you're talking about CeeDee Lamb and some of the weapons that Dak Prescott has. So it's going to be a tall task, and depends on what happened today. You know, we're going to find out a lot about what we need to happen as far as us in the postseason. I know I'm looking ahead because we got to take it one game at a time, and the next game is the Dallas game. But, Danny, you have to be looking ahead or looking at the big picture just to know where you are.
No off days for this Detroit Lions offensive line, especially going up against the Cowboys defensive front.
Yes.
A reminder, wear white, everyone, next Thursday, 8:15 kickoff. Do the exact opposite of what I'm doing right now. Wear white, don't wear black. You'll stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know the last time I've seen a whiteout in Ford Field.
I know.
And I'm pumped for it.
I mean, well, today they had the white tiles, the rally tiles going today. They were white today, so that looked so good. So imagine everybody in white in here. It could be a little advantage for us. We're going to need every advantage we can get.
I agree.
Danny.
This channel, the Penn State whiteout energy, that's what we need here inside Ford Field. All right, final takeaways from this game, Lomas. If the playoffs started today for Detroit, the Lions are out. They're in the 8th spot. Only the top 7 teams from each conference make it in. So where do you look at this Detroit Lions defense, and where do you put the bandage at to get things going again?
So the first thing, and I know it's obvious, try to get healthy. We got to try to get some of our guys back. When you talk about missing Brock Wright today, now Amon-Ra's out, Khalif was out. You know, we had to think about Graham Glasgow. We had a lot of guys missing today, so that's the number one thing we have to try to get healthy. But, Danny, we got to find a way to affect these quarterbacks that come in here. Because think about some of the quarterbacks we got coming in here the rest of the season. So Calvin Shepard's going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out a way for us to affect these quarterbacks coming here. And we're just going to have to continue on offense to try to execute, get first downs, keep the ball moving, try to keep those good quarterbacks on the sideline, and try to get the ball in the end zone. I know I'm saying a lot, and I know it's a tall task, but that's what we're going to have to start with, and that's what we're going to have to try to accomplish over these next few weeks.
Next 7 days are crucial for Detroit, who falls to 7-5 on the season after a loss on Thanksgiving Day here in the Motor City. For Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for tuning into the Detroit.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you, Lomas. I never want you to think that I'm not. Thank you for shouting that out. Thanks so much for tuning in. 31-24 is the final from Ford Field. We'll see you right back here next week.